All right. So Hare Krishna and welcome all the devotees. We are doing introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam and we'll start from here. Who wants to read this? On his return, we'll read this paragraph again. This is where uh, we were having the discussion yesterday. So we'll start from the beginning of this paragraph. So Natasha Mataji, you want to start? You were reading it yesterday, right?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read it.
Go ahead.
On his return to Puri, all the anxious devotees of the Lord got back their life, and the Lord remained there with continued pastimes of his transcendental realizations. The most important incident during that time was his granting audience to King Prataprudra. King Prataprudra was a great devotee of the Lord, and he considered himself to be one of the servants of the Lord entrusted with sweeping the temple. This submissive attitude of the king was very much appreciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The king requested both Bhattacharya and Rai to arrange his meeting with the Lord. When, however, the Lord was petitioned by his two stalwart devotees, he flatly refused to grant the request, even though it was put forward by personal associates like Ramanand Rai and Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. The Lord maintained that it is dangerous for a sannyasi to be in intimate touch with worldly, money conscious men and with women. The Lord was an ideal sannyasi. No women could approach the Lord even to offer respect. Women's seats were accommodated far away from the Lord. As an ideal teacher and acharya, he was very strict in the routine work of a sannyasi. Apart from being a divine incarnation, the Lord was an ideal character as a human being. His behavior with other persons was also above suspicion. In his dealings as acharya, he was harder than the thunderbolt and softer than the rose. One of his associates, Junior Haridas, committed a great mistake by lustfully glancing at a young woman. The Lord as Supersoul could detect this lust in the mind of Junior Haridas, who was at once banished from the Lord's association and was never accepted again, even though the Lord was implored to excuse Haridas for the mistake. Junior Haridas afterwards committed suicide due to being disassociated from the company of the Lord, and the news of suicide was duly related to the Lord. Even at that time, the Lord was not forgetful of the offense, and he said that Haridas had rightly met with the proper punishment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, this is kind of interesting aspect of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here it is mentioned that Lord could be more harder than a thunderbolt or softer than a rose, right? So this is the unique quality of the Lord and his devotees, pure devotees. If we see their life, we cannot predict the acharyas or pure devotees. I mean, of course, we know a basic uh, concept of what are the things which are to be done. We know the principles, but at the same time, predicting how exactly a great personality is going to navigate a situation is not something which is a job of a neophyte devotee. It takes one to know one. Great personalities, they if we have to actually understand them, then we have to advance spiritually. We have to follow their footsteps. And similarly here, one may think, Are, this Junior Haridas, he was actually a sannyasi, a renunciant, and he lustfully glanced. And just with this, he had to meet a punishment of suicide. And still Lord is saying his proper punishment can appear to be very, very severe in one way. We say Lord has appeared as Patita Pavana Avatara, and still this seems to be very, very strong and harsh and hard. But that's how it is. The Lord can be softer and harder. There are certain reasons why Lord acts in a certain way, and those reasons, as we read Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, these reasons will be more and more clear to us and revealed to us. But the point here is he was setting standards. And it's very important for the person who's setting standards to uh, be firm and strict. So that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. Of course, Haridas, the story is like this. This is Junior Haridas, not the Haridas Thakur. Junior Haridas or Chota Haridas is another Haridas. What happened to them? He was he was once, this episode happened that he was lustfully glancing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately understood and he rejected him. And then he was very repentful. He was feeling very sad. Oh, I did made a mistake. And then of course he decided he'll end his life, and that's what he did. And of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, and he, in this instance, is saying he's met with proper punishment. On the other hand, in the Leela of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's sannyasi disciple, they actually had difficulties, some of them, even when Prabhupada was there. And brought up in Western world, American world, they didn't have much idea of sannyas, but they were inspired to take sannyas, and now they were not able to continue. So Prabhupada actually let them marry. Prabhupada actually was okay, he forgave. So from this standpoint, we can see how Lord Chaitanya, how Srila Prabhupada is even more merciful than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he is merciful, but actually it is still we see the devotees of the Lord are even more merciful, because that's how he manifests. He gives his mercy through the devotees. And similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though he was strict and he was not very, he was not forgiving Chota Haridas, but the associates and the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were actually encouraging Chota Haridas that he can continue in devotional service. And that is how we see different time, place, and circumstance, different situations. The acharyas exactly know how to deal with it. Just like Narad Muni's example, when he met Valmiki and he told him to chant Mara, somebody will say, "Oh, what is this? This is not a acharya. Narad cannot be an acharya. Narad is some bogus person. He's telling him to chant Mara. What is this?" But actually, such foolish people who don't understand the essence of scriptures, they actually misunderstand the acharyas. They say wrongly for the acharyas, and they commit the offense, first offense to the holy name, to blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name. So you must understand that how different time, place, circumstances, how the principles have to be applied is very well known to the acharyas. Does it make sense? Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, it does. Yes, Prabhuji.
Clear? So we'll move forward. Anybody wants to make any comment? Okay, we'll read further. Rakshita Madhuri, you want to read next?
From where, Prabhuji? On the principles of renounced order. Okay,
Correct.
Prabhuji, I'll read. Just give me a minute. Hare Krishna. On the principles of the renounced order of life and discipline, the Lord knew to compromise, and therefore, even though he knew that the king was a great devotee, he refused to see the king, only because the king was a dollar and cent man. By this example, the Lord wanted to emphasize the proper behavior for a transcendentalist. A transcendentalist has nothing to do with the women
and money. He must always refrain from such intimate relations. The king was, however, favored by the Lord by the expert arrangement of the devotee. This means that the beloved devotee of the Lord can favor a neophyte more liberally than the Lord. Pure devotees, therefore, never commit an offense at the feet of another pure devotee. An offense at the lotus feet of the Lord is sometimes excused by the merciful Lord, but an offense at the feet of a devotee is very dangerous for one who actually wants to make progress in devotional service. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Very nice.
So this is very important. Again and again, it's repeated, right? That devotees of the Lord are even more merciful than the Lord. Lord lets the devotees get the credit of being more patita pavan than the Lord himself, right? And if one commits offense to the devotee, just like we are discussing, if you tell some one of the mothers something that you are, you not a very good cook, you do very badly, or something you tell, she will not feel good. But if you tell something to her about her child, that your child is totally duffer, he's dull-headed, then the mother will be very, very upset, right? She'll feel worse if you tell something about the child, right? So similarly, the Supreme Lord, when the devotees of the Lord are insulted, blasphemed, tortured, offended, then the Lord is even more upset. So if we say something about Krishna, Krishna will still forgive. You keep chanting, he'll forgive you. But if you say something about the devotees of the Lord, that's too much now. That he can't take. So that is the extent to which we have to be careful in our dealings with the devotees. A pure devotee never commits an offense to another pure devotee. And then we are also discussing one offense, right? Like mad elephant offense. If you offend a pure devotee, it's like a mad elephant offense. That an elephant, if he gets mad, he will break the whole area, right? Trees or buildings or whatever it is, he'll do a lot of destruction. So similarly, this is the kind of offense it is when we offend a devotee, especially a pure devotee, advanced devotee. It's like we are like a mad elephant is breaking everything. We are breaking our spiritual life, and we are just digging our grave. Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, we go to the next. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
I can read.
Yes, Mother.
After some time, the Lord again started on his tour towards North India, and he decided to visit Vrindavan and his neighborhood places. He passed through the jungle of the Jharkhand, Madhya Bharata, and all the wild animal also joined his Sankirtana movement. The wild tigers, elephant, bears, and deer all together accompanied the Lord, and the Lord accompanied them in Sankirtana. By this, he proved that by the propagation of the Sankirtana movement, congregation chanting and the glorifying the name of the Lord, even the wild animal can live in peace and friendship. And what to speak of the men who supposed to be civilized? No man in the world all refused to join the Sankirtana movement, nor is the Lord Sankirtana movement restricted by any caste, creed, color, or species. Here is the direct evidence of great mission. He allowed even the wild animal to partake in his great moment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for reading, but I think we were supposed to read the previous paragraph. But that's but that's okay. You read so beautifully, and you were engrossed, so I didn't want to interrupt. And this is a very, very nice pastime of the Lord Where else have you heard this, that somebody has inspired even the animals to chant the holy name, like what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did in Jharikhanda forest? It is practically unheard of. We can't see, we don't see animals, wild elements, animals especially doing these kind of things. But this is the power of the holy name, that when the holy name was given, and it is given with its full force by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these wild animals became inundated with the love of God. And honestly speaking, in this day and age, the way we are living our lives, we are not too much different than wild animals actually. You know, we also sometimes behave in a very wild manner. People in Kali Yuga in general, and each one of us can think about ourselves, such qualities, such points where we acted in unacceptable manner, and that can keep giving us hope that if wild animals were able to get the love of God by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, then even I have some hope, right? Because I'm also not much different than a wild animal. So if wild animals are getting delivered, हमें भी line में लग जाना चाहिए. We should also be in the queue and get all the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, right?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhu, I don't quite understand like how animals would chant, and even if they do, how we will know that they are chanting.
Yes, Mataji, that is the reason. You have to chant 16 rounds and come to the temple regularly. Then you will see so many wild animals also there chanting. Like sometimes I will also go to temple. So you can see how how wild animals like me can also join.
Prabhuji,
So like
Prabhuji, when
that.
you were sharing this now before leading, I was about to say, before you said that, Prabhuji, you also, made so many, wild animals. Like I consider myself in the next point when you mentioned that, I was like, Prabhuji also thinking that way.
I want to make a comment. When we chant Harinam, our dog wag his tail, He doesn't say anything, but he wag his tail and always sit when, my husband is reading any religious book. So we know that he will have a better life next time.
Yes, very nice. He will have a better life, but make sure that you keep thinking about Krishna. That way, he will get more benefit, and you will also not get into a situation where you are remembering him in the last time. So that's very important that you are remembering Krishna. But that's very, very good point, Mataji mentioned. So, Rajni Mataji, best is that we should go and watch in the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, let's become serious, and then Krishna will show us. If you are serious and sincerely wanting, Krishna will actually show you. Srila Prabhupada, he was once in conversation, he was telling to his disciples that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the forest and so many animals started chanting. But we don't go to the forest. We don't go to the forest. He's Lord. He can do it. Like for me, my Guru Maharaj told me to come to America. So I came to America. Of course, if my Guru Maharaj would have ordered me to go to the forest and chant with the wild animals, I would have done that. Prabhupada said I would have done that. But my Guru Maharaj ordered me to come here. And actually, all the disciples were saying that, basically acknowledging that how animals sometimes can still be predictable, right? Wild animals can still be predictable. You know they're dangerous, but you can predict. That's how they train the wild animals, because they predict, they know. But humans, sometimes they can be so wild, you can't predict them. You can't predict. Humans can be much more dangerous than the wildest of the wild animals. So training the humans is even more difficult. And Srila Prabhupada did it. This is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't go to the West but he wanted his representative to go. And that's what he told in the scriptures, my general, my Senapati will come and deliver everybody. So that's how it is. Srila Prabhupada was sent for this purpose. Does it-
Actually, if I can make a comment,
Yes, Ma'am.
actually, I totally agree with you on that. We human are so dangerous that we are more dangerous than innocent animals, even if they are wildest. We even have the power to tame the most dangerous of all animals, but they don't have the power to tame us.
Yes, Father, you're so right. That's true. Okay, so we'll go to the paragraph which we missed earlier. Mosmi Mataji, you want to read this?
I can go ahead and read it because I missed it.
Okay, yes, Mataji.
Okay. As long as the Lord remained at Puri, thousands of his devotees used to come to see him during the Rath Yatra festival of the Lord Jagannath and during the car festival, the washing of the Gundika temple under the direct supervision of the Lord was an important function. The Lord's congregational Sankirtana movement at the Puri was unique exhibition for the mass of the people. This the way to turn the mass mind toward the spiritual realization. The Lord incorporated his system of the mass Sankirtana, and the leader of all countries can take advantage of his spiritual movement in order to keep the mass of the people in the pure state and the peace and friendship with one another. This is now the demand of the present human society all over the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you remember, how many of you remember the video I had shared a few days back where all the different people in Mayapur were sharing? They are from so many different countries of all over the world, and they were sharing how is the power of Mayapur and why they like to be in Mayapur and how they love there. Anybody was there? Rakshita Mataji?
Yes,
and
Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhuji. Yes,
I
we were there.
remember.
you remember?
yes,
And then one day I had also shared one video of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj in Nairobi, in Kenya, in Africa. He was giving a talk and big leaders were there. And he was telling how so many different people, so many different projects are going on in ISKCON, which is helping, like food for life, feeding the poor, educating the people, masses, and so many other things. But he was mentioning that how people from different countries, different race, different background, they are all coming together and serving Krishna in such a loving manner. And not many places you can find such a thing. And immediately they were feeling that yes, there are so many racial problems, religious problems, so many other problems, and this particular process is giving chance everyone to actually come up with an alternative than going into the rat race of the society, coming up with a spiritual alternative solution to so many seemingly unsolvable problems of the society. So similarly here, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he did, he engaged the devotees to do the Sankirtan. And Srila Prabhupada said, Kirtan and Prasadam is for the masses and philosophy is for the classes. Like Kirtan, you see many people can come. Prasadam, you're distributing, huge number of population will come, right? But when you're giving lecture or when you're asking to read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam and have discussion, very few people come. Has anybody noticed this? Any of you?
यस प्रभु जी मैं खुद ही प्रसाद के टाइम ज्यादा जाती
हमारा भी ऐसे ही प्रसाद खा के किसी तरह कल्याण हुआ। So no doubt prasadam and kirtan, they are very important, but actually all three are important. If you don't know the philosophy, if you're not reading the books, if you're not understanding, then advancement will be very slow. And if you do all three,
I think
then
knowledge is the
devotee,
best prasad.
that's very nice. In the knowledge, we are not concerned about all the knowledge. We are
Right.
concerned about how one can analyze and differentiate between temporary knowledge and permanent knowledge. The knowledge is going to be with us for much longer time than just temporary. And then there's relative knowledge and absolute knowledge. So this is permanent and absolute. So that knowledge which is there in scriptures, you don't find too many people who can dedicate. Of course, all of you are great personalities who are able to join on a regular basis. And I feel very, very fortunate to have your association. But generally we see how many people are there in the whole of our cities. You know, so many cities, let's say just Lansing, Okemos area, there are probably many, many thousands, right? Hundreds of thousands of people are there. And how many are actually uh, having an inclination for doing spiritual activities? So many people may be having inclination for going to concerts, movies, sports, but not as many people have inclination to read the Bhagavad Gita, for example. So that is something which we have to see. Of course, we are not saying necessarily that everybody else except those who are coming are spiritual. There may be so many other spiritual people or seekers who are actually looking for something higher and they're not getting it. And that's why we all have a responsibility of looking for such people and sharing this knowledge with others. And as we share the knowledge with others, we will come across with so many people who had this curiosity for knowledge. They really wanted to know, but they never got a chance or an atmosphere or a right source from which they can ask. So each one of you have that responsibility also. That
Guruji, can I say something?
yes, mother.
Yeah. Some people, some of my friends from the meditation group, they also mentioned that, they read the Gita, but they don't understand it. So I told them about our group, but I think because they belong to Pushti Marg or some other Vaishnava thing, so they don't want to join ISKCON. So some of them are having that problem.
That's okay, Mataji. So is there any question you have, or you just wanted to make a comment?
No, I just made a comment.
Oh, yeah. So everybody has their own, free will. People can choose based upon the free will. But here we are actually encouraging things.
Mommy,
We are
we
encouraging.
gotta get two. Mom, we're getting snacks, okay? We don't even have a snack.
किसी को snack दे दो भाई. किसी को. I think somebody is asking for snack. All right.
That was very cute.
So the thing is, here we are talking about going beyond the caste, colored, race, just because something was being done in your family, just not understanding, asking the right questions and blindly doing is not spirituality. Spirituality means understanding the essence. And if somebody is doing that, then that's perfect. They don't have to be in ISKCON. We don't say that ISKCON is the only way. Prabhupada said, even after by reading Bible, one can go back to. And when it comes to Vaishnava Sampradaya, then everybody, all the Vaishnava Sampradaya, we respect them. So from our standpoint, we don't have any distinction or inclination that somebody should come to ISKCON or not come to ISKCON. That's their own free will and free choice. What we are here is to give right kind of understanding to those who are in want of it. If there are people who really have questions in their life, spiritual questions, and they're seeking for answers, then we can give our 2 cents. That's what our point is. And there is plenty. We don't have to go to Pushti Marg or this Marg or that Marg. There's so many Americans roaming around. There are so many other Indians who are roaming around. So it's not restricted. There are so many people from Pushti Marg who are in ISKCON actually. So it's not based upon caste, color, race, species, or anything. It's just simple one thing. If you are having questions and looking for answers in life, you are most welcome to look into Bhagavad Gita. And many of the devotees have found their answers and they're very, very satisfied and happy and want to continue and get more and more deep into it. So that is how I would, those are my thoughts basically. All right. We'll keep reading. We discussed about one second. Okay, we discussed about how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not wanting to be with the king, right? But he was still in the Puri. So many of the devotees were coming, especially during the Rath Yatra festival. So in the Rath Yatra festival, people will come from different parts of the country. So in Puri, people will come from Bengal. And lots of devotees were coming to meet him. And what will Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He will clean the whole Gundicha temple with all the devotees. But the amount of cleaning alone he will do, he will collect such a huge pile of mud and dust from the whole temple that all the other people combined could not gather that much. That is how he was himself cleaning the whole temple. So Gundicha temple is a temple where after the Rath Yatra, the Rath goes. So Rath goes from Jagannath temple to the Gundicha temple, stays in Gundicha temple for a few days. So Lord was cleaning it. So that is called as Gundicha Marjanam. All right. So I think we read this. We discussed about Kirtan. We discussed about how he went to Jharikanda forest. Okay, let's read from here. Who would like to read this?
I can read it.
Yes, ma'am.
On his way back from Vrindavana, he first came to Pragya, where he met Rupa Prayag,
Yeah.
where he met Rupa Goswami along with his younger brother Anupama. Then he came down to Banaras, Varanasi. For 2 months, he instructed Sri Sanatana Goswami in the transcendental science. The instruction to Sanatana Goswami is in itself a long narration, and full presentation of the instruction will not be possible here. The main ideas are given as follows. Sanatana Goswami, formerly known as Sakara Mallika, was in the cabinet service of the Bengal government under the regime of Nawab Hussain Shah. I think it was cabinet. He decided to join with the Lord and thus retired from the service. On his way back from Vrindavana, when he reached Varanasi, the Lord became the guest of Sri Tapana Mishra and Chandrasekhara, assisted by a Maharashtra Brahmana. At that time, Varanasi was headed by a great sannyasi of the Mayavada school, named Sripada Parakshananda Saraswati. When the Lord was at Varanasi, the people in general became more attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on account of his massed Sankirtana movement. Wherever he visited, especially the Vishwanatha temple, thousands of pilgrims would follow him. Some were attracted by his bodily features, and others were attracted by his melodious songs glorifying the Lord.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for it. So, yeah, you want to say something? Okay.
No.
Okay. So Sanatan Goswami, Sakar Malik, as many of you know, actually from the previous one. So on his way back from Vrindavan, he first came to Prayag, where he met Rup Goswami and Anupam. So, so one in Prayag and one in Varanasi. So in Prayag, he met Rup Goswami and he gave him teachings for about 10 days. And then he met Sanatan Goswami in Varanasi and he gave teachings for about 2 months, right? And the teachings Prabhupada is mentioning here are a lot, but we will just give the main ideas. First, Prabhupada is mentioning about the little bit about Sanatana Goswami, how he was working with the king, and his previous name was Sakar Malik. And he joined the Lord. How did Sanatana Goswami met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It was the time when Sanatana Goswami left the king and he was going, and on the way he met Lord Chaitanya at Varanasi. In Varanasi, Lord Chaitanya was in the house of one of the devotees and Sanatana Goswami was outside. Now Sanatana Goswami, as was as common in those days, even Hindus, if they are working for the Nawab, they were in the garb of Nawab, like Muslims. So they'll have beard, they'll have a appearance like a Muslim, right? So then at that time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the devotee, I think it was Chandrasekhar Acharya, I think. So he asked him, okay, there is a devotee outside. Can you call him in? So he goes, he looks outside, he doesn't see anybody there who is a devotee. So he comes out inside, he says, my dear Lord, there is no devotee outside, there is no Vaishnava outside. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, is there anyone outside? He said, yes, there one Muslim mendicant is there outside. He said, okay, call him inside. And then he called him inside. And then as soon as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him, he embraced him. And that was Sanatana Goswami, actually. So sometimes we tend to judge others by their appearance. And that is not how one can understand Vaishnava. No. Vaishnava can be understood by his qualities. Vaishnava can be understood by other Vaishnavas introducing or revealing the qualities of the greatness of that Vaishnava to us, right? So this is how Sanatana Goswami met, and then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Chandrasekhar Acharya that, okay, take him now, he's great devotee, go and get him nicely dressed, shave him up. So then I forgot the exact word used in the scriptures, which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Daravesh. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mentioning is like a Daravesh, which means not very, not like a dressed properly kind of a person. And then Prabhupada translated that it is like hippie, because that's how Americans were at that time. They understood that word, right? Hippie. So Sanatana Goswami one way, a long hairs, long beard, said shave him. So Lord Chaitanya liked his devotees being shaved up. So this is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met. And then these people, Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Acharya, they were there in Varanasi for a purpose. What was the purpose? Varanasi was the Gadh, was the center of the Mayavadi school. A lot of Mayavadis were there. And one of the prominent Mayavadi at that time was Prakashananda Saraswati. And then how people were getting attracted to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, and not so much to Prakashananda Saraswati's, Mayavadi talks. We'll discuss how things manifested subsequently tomorrow in this regard. How Prakashananda Saraswati, how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealt with him. And this is a beautiful narration. We'll discuss this tomorrow. So we'll stop here. We'll end here. Anybody else wants to make any points? So the way we are discussing right now, is it going okay? I want feedbacks from the devotees because I don't hear anybody else speaking. So I'm not sure if it is, if the structure and the way we are doing, is it interesting or should we make any changes?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I was just saying that it is, I think, going very well. Thank you very much for conducting these classes and lectures, and it is very helpful. And the reading is also going very nice, and your input is very extremely nice and valuable. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the kind words. Okay, yes, I think Mataji was saying something. Raksha Mataji.
Prabhuji, I was just saying that I am really enjoying it. I like it.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, great. So if all the devotees are okay with the way we are doing, we'll continue like this. But if you have any feedback,
Yeah, this is very good.
thank you. So, so we will try to complete the introduction in coming days. Yes, Ketki Mataji is saying something.
Yes, no, I would like to thank you very much. We are very lucky, feel so much blessed. We can have this Bhagavatam class in this Karuna session. Very lucky, very blessed. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. So what I was saying is that we'll continue our discussion and then we'll see once introduction is there, is done, we'll play Kahoot. Ansh really wants to play Kahoot. So I'll try to make a Kahoot quiz from the introduction. So then we will play. Is that okay? Okay, great.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Bharti, please.
It's because everything I am Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful, everything good. Then why go after Mayavadis so much? Why not leave them alone? Or why not just go along with his own Sankirtan movement and everything?
So this is an excellent question to begin the discussion for the later part, because the later section will make this point a little bit clear of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dealing with the Mayavadis. So as just hold that question, and then after we read this section tomorrow, then we'll discuss more. Is that okay, Mataji?
Before we leave, can you briefly, you have spoken about it, I'm sure. Can you briefly tell me what this Mayavadi is?
Mayavadis are only those who feel that by understanding that I am same that one God, I am also that one God. By understanding this, realizing this through the Vedanta, one can actually become God. So there are different versions of it and there are different extents of it. But in one sentence, this is what most of the books of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, this is what point we really counter. That Jiva and Paramatma, they are non-different. While Mayavadis say everything is one, which means Jiva and Lord are one.
Right.
Okay,
I think we
one
talked about it in one before.
So we'll discuss
one
more about this, tomorrow, that how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his philosophy, he says, yes, they are one, but also different. So there are some things which are similar, like qualitatively, but actually they are different quantitatively, and they are different persons, not the same person. Jiva
So
and
is Mayavadi is a strain of different religious sect? I mean, it's a different religious tree, or
Mayavadi means
I'm not.
misinterpretation of the Vedic knowledge.
Okay.
okay, Prabhuji, एक और question
Yes, ma'am.
relative to this. अब जैसे Aghasur died. Aghasur life came out of his head. It waited until Krishna came out of his body, and then Aghasur's life went inside Krishna's body. Similar to what Shishupal happened, similar to what Dantavakra happened. So, isn't it that merging with Krishna?
No, Mataji. So there are two things different, Prabhupada explains. One is Brahmavad and one is Mayavad. Brahmavad means what Krishna tells in the 12th chapter. Anybody read the 12th chapter, Bhagavad Gita? How does the 12th chapter start? So Arjuna is asking the question in the 12th chapter that how there are different processes. One is devotional service and one is impersonal aspect of the Lord. So which one is better? So in that Krishna says meditating on my form is the best. So basically devotional service, but he says even those who are trying to go through the impersonal aspect, they take a long journey, which is very troublesome, because very difficult, but they they may at last come to me, right? So that is not Mayavad, that is Brahmavad. So Brahmavad is the aspect where one goes till the Brahma Jyoti. So Brahma Jyoti is not same as God, right? It is like being in a place where there may be no birth, disease, old age, death, but still you are not Ananda, you're not blissful because you're not having personal interaction with Krishna and the Lord. But some people who deny the form of the Lord, who says, no, this is all what it is, they are Mayavadis. So those who are offensive to the Lord, who are just like if somebody says something wrong about your parents, will you like it very much? My question to you.
I tend to ignore people now.
No, but if somebody is abusive to your parents, will you like it or not? Ignore,
I will not like
ignore.
it. For
That is the question only. We are not saying about ignoring or not ignoring. We are just asking whether you like it or not.
no, not at all.
So that's the same thing. When somebody says things about the Supreme Lord, that Supreme Lord's form is imaginary, this is not true form, then the devotees don't like it. Now, we don't fight with them. I've never seen Prabhupada having a wrestling with anyone, but we just don't like it, and we want our devotees to understand very clearly that our Supreme Lord is very beautiful and he has a form, it is not imaginary. So that's our emphasis. Does it make sense? Because it's very important that we are solidly situated in the philosophy. Otherwise, we will get confusions. We will get doubts. Like many people say, all God are one only. Krishna took the human form when he came here. Actually, Krishna took the human form means that he was not having a form before. So that concept is countered by understanding that Krishna has his own spiritual transcendental form and he comes in his own spiritual form. That is the actual way of understanding. Not that Krishna takes some form to come here. Mayavadi think that is supreme. He takes a form coming. We also supreme takes a form coming here. And then when we go back, we are merging into that Nirakar. So there are subtle differences between understanding the philosophy.
मोक्ष मिलेगा तभी तो निराकार में मर्ज होते हैं ना. मोक्ष ही नहीं मिला तो फिर कहाँ से निराकार में मर्जिंग होगी.
मोक्ष मिलेगा तो निराकार में मर्जिंग होगी. मोक्ष हाँ तो उसमें मतलब क्या? आई डिडंट
नहीं तो
अंडरस्टैंड.
मैं वही बोल रही हूँ ना कि जो जिस फिलॉसफी के बारे में बात करते हैं उसमें हर एक में आई डोंट नो, मे बी मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग डिफरेंट देन योर्स है, या मेरे को थोड़ा कम समझ में आया ये चीज कि मैं जितना भी लोग जहां से भी मैंने सुना या जो भी बोला, nobody says कि we die and we will get moksha or liberation. They all, everywhere it's there that we follow the route of our karmas and we have to get the actions and reactions and everything we have to go in. But once we get liberated, then only this all Vaikuntha or Brahman or everything is happening at that point. Is it not?
So Mataji, there are different things. First thing is we are only talking about the Mayavad philosophy, we having differences from Mayavad philosophy. That is the point I am talking. Because if you go to karma and going back to Godhead and Vaikuntha planets and different things, there are some things which are similar, but there are things which are different. So it's going to take a little bit more discussion to understand, for me to know what is your understanding. But my point is, what problem we have from Mayavad is that they say Krishna is formless and his form is illusory, and we don't like that. We say no, our Supreme Lord has such a beautiful transcendental form. It is not imaginary, it is not illusory, it is not temporary. That is our point.
Okay.
And then we don't say that Jiva can never become God. So these two strongly we disagree with this. We don't like this. And other than that, ignoring means we are not going to Mayavadi's house and saying and doing anything. We are just discussing among devotees so that they are clear in their concept. We are not going and necessarily picking fights with Mayavadis.
No, when we are reading Bhagavatam and we are reading this introduction, before even starting into what philosophy we have or what the things we have, we are reading this introduction in which very specifically life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given. I understand that why, but why focus on Mayavadi philosophy and then discriminating that specifically? So this was my thinking, like why Prabhupada has written this introduction before starting Bhagavatam actual reading.
Prabhuji, you're on mute.
You are muted.
Ansh is becoming very naughty. He is, playing with the computer as I'm talking. So, so if you read the Bhagavatam introduction, Prabhupada mentions very clearly that there are two Bhagavatam. One is the book Bhagavatam, one is the person Bhagavatam. To understand the book Bhagavatam, one has to understand along with the person Bhagavatam. And he says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as a devotee of God, is a classic example for a person Bhagavat. So if we know the light of an ideal person who is a person Bhagavat, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will be able to understand the Srimad Bhagavatam even in a better way. So that's what he writes in the beginning. And then the point about Mayavadi, there's not focus on Mayavadi. There are so many other focuses. Our focus is Krishna here. And then one aspect of Krishna is Krishna's form. And we want to make it very clear that Krishna's form is transcendental. So a part of that is to clarify any misgiving anybody may have. Just like COVID pandemic is there going on. So we want to give everyone opportunity to get vaccinated against COVID. Somebody can say, "Arey, COVID to mujhe hua bhi nahi. I never got COVID. Why you are giving me medicine?" Well, because pandemic is there. You may not have it right now, but you can easily get it. You are prone to it. So better get inoculated if you want, 90% immunity, for example. So that's why this process is here, where Prabhupada is already telling us that how the Supreme Lord's form is transcendental, and those who are not accepting this form, they are called as Mayavadis, and how this philosophy is having defects. So we have to get immunized by understanding the different philosophy. And it is not just Mayavadi philosophy. Prabhupada, if you read Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada makes us aware about lot of philosophies. He talks about Sahajiyas. We discussed at length in our Nectar of Instruction discussion. He talks about Niyamagrahas, where Natasha Mataji beautifully presented the two different forms of Niyamagrahas. So Prabhupada's books are actually making distinction between wrong and the right at every step. Because to know what is right, you also need to know what it is not. Like, for example, soul is eternal. It is not able to get destroyed. So for that, so many places Krishna says, okay, even weapon cannot destroy it, even fire cannot destroy it. Now all these things are not happening, but to make the point, different aspects are given, different angles are given. So similarly, Prabhupada is mentioning this at various places. So this is my understanding.
सोल वाला सिस्टम तो मेरे को समझ में आया, मैंने इतनी बार पढ़ा वो कि क्यों इतनी बार रिपीट हुआ ये, तो वो तो मेरे को समझ में आ गया कि क्योंकि हमारी बॉडी जो है वो पंच तत्व से बनी हुई है, तो इसीलिए वो 5 तत्व डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकते. जो चीज मतलब वो है, वो समझ में आया था.
But even then, Krishna mentioned so many times, it's not slain, it's not destroyed. If you read, it is multiple times repetitive.
Yeah.
So that is because to make a point, because we stay so much in material consciousness that for us it becomes difficult. So sometimes the repetition is necessary. So sometimes Prabhupada's book people read, they feel so many things are repetitive. You're not this body, your spirit, soul. Why? Because it's necessary to make a point that even though we are not this body, we are thinking still from the bodily platform only. We get attracted to the things which the body gets attracted to. We are still very difficult to act in the level of soul. Like I can tell about my personal self. I've been trying for last several years. I still am very much in bodily concept of life. Very hard. It's so many lifetimes we've been thinking like this. So just expecting it's going to go just in a few days, weeks, or months is not going to happen. And then there are subtle forms of how impersonalism or Mayavadi philosophy or attitude also affects our dealings with devotees and people in general. So it's a little bit longer topic, but that is also very important, because unless we have a personal relationship with the devotees, we will actually not advance in Krishna consciousness. Personal relationship with the Lord. So that not having that is also impersonalistic attitude. So we have that actually. We lack sensitivity. Many times the way we speak, we deal, we actually don't realize it. But that is coming from a wrong or lack of the right conception of Krishna consciousness. So all this needs training. And that is what we are doing by reading it every day and discussing and having this nice, platform where everybody can share and have discussion and ask questions and share their thoughts. So I think we have a few more things in this regard to discuss. which we will cover in the other next paragraphs, and we'll see how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what means he took in dealing with these great scholars. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for explaining.
Thank you, Mataji, for a nice question. Great. So should we end it here? Maushmi Mataji, you were saying something?
I was just I mean, to me, definitely I'm not a spiritual expert, so I always try to make connections with a lot of scholars that actually it's very amazing to see that what our Vedas have said way before has later been replicated by many Western scholars. Like one time I made connection with Freudian philosophy, things like that. So reading that question, and then I was trying to think that there is a philosopher called Immanuel Kant, and he was very famous. But then he said, in order to understand the nature of reality, one must have to first examine and analyze the reasoning process. So in other words, I heard here many times the word scientific, Krishna's science, and things that the word science come up by Prabhupada. So if you were taking the perspective of science in analyzing the Krishna consciousness, then maybe it's a good idea to examine it. So examination comes, or analyzation comes through reasoning. So maybe bringing your perspective out by contrasting and comparing is a very good scientific analogy. So that's from a scholarship point of view. Again, I apologize.
That's actually true. Comparing and contrasting is very important. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam has so many examples about that, how it compares and contrasts. And we'll discuss as we go forward, we'll discuss many of them.
So that was my take. So, and again,
Thank you,
I apologize because I'm not a spiritual expert, but people learn in different way, and I encourage that for my students as well. So yeah, so people learn through connections. Sometimes people learn through based on their experiences and different means and they employ to learn. So that's one of my way that my mind captures. But I do get what you're saying. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. That's very nice. Okay, great. So I think because of lack of time, we'll end here. Thank you all the devotees. Thank you for your patience, for staying over till late and having such nice points and discussion. We'll end it here. Vancha kalpatarubhya patitanam papanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna.